always, to have his infrastructure always up with no downtime, with like very strict service level agreement, has an easy upgrades for the all for the whole underlying infrastructure, starting from the network infrastructure, security infrastructure, as well as the operating system, the virtualization layer, up to the application level. That upgrade which is usually caused a lot of issues working with the application, where we have to apply this upgrades on testing environment, the staging environment, to pre-production before going to the production. Having a disaster recovery site in order to make sure the business continuity of the workload and different business application. Having the highest security standards in place, starting from the data centers, where the data centers are ISO 27K certified, SOC 1, SOC 2 certified, having the micro-segmentation in place, having a lot of advanced security features, not caring about the maintenance cost for the underlying infrastructure, as well as lowering the total cost of ownership and moving from the CapEx to OpEx model, where we are going to spend as we use. That's, I believe, these very brightening features of the cloud, where it is the dream of every IT manager or anyone who's working in IT. But what is the challenge of moving to the cloud? What is the main important factors that any enterprise customer, any IT manager also, or any security manager is thinking about before being there, before moving to the cloud? First of all, the asking why. So do I have the proper case study? Do I have the proper use case from business perspective? Do I need to move to the cloud? What kind of value can the cloud bring to my main business applications? So that's building the proper business case and aligning the moving to the cloud to the business goals and business applications is the first questions that everyone is having, and for all IT managers to get the buy-in from the business in order to move to the cloud. Also looking at the legacy systems, a lot of enterprises, a lot of industries still having some legacy systems that cannot be moved to the cloud, and it has to work at the same time in a hybrid model with the cloud. How this hybrid model will work, how we can consider this legacy system as a part of the business application. We cannot throw it away from day one. We have to keep it. We have to keep maintaining the integration with the other infrastructure and other workload. So thinking about the legacy systems, thinking about also the transformation and for the transformation of the staff. Of the staff and expertise of the cloud enablement, because moving to the cloud is not about migrating the workload to the cloud. We have another technology transition for the cloud knowledge, because the team who was managing the on-prem, he should be familiar enough with the cloud technologies in order to take the decisions, in order to do the day-to-day operation activities that's being done for the on-prem. That new mindset and skills, it has to be planned well, also in order to take the decision of moving to the cloud. the security on the cloud. Are we going to have the same level of security that we have built for the on-prem? Is my data secure on the cloud? Is my customer's information, and whenever my customer is connecting to their application that I'm offering, is they are secure? If I have any payment gateways, any payment information, is it secure on the cloud, similar to the same level of security and compliance that we have for the on-prem? If my industry is having a specific compliance and regulations and the standard, can we have the same level of regulations and same level of compliance for the cloud? What is the cost of operation of operating the workload on the cloud? Okay, in the cloud we are moving from CapEx to OpEx. So we solve that TCO problem, but now we have a variation in the cost. Whenever we are provisioning any service on the cloud, this service will generate some consumption. There are different costing model. Tracking the cost on the cloud might become another problem. So we solve the CapEx to OpEx, we solve the TCO, but we have another problem with the cost, which is managing the cost, tracking the variation of that cost. That one of the main questions that we've been asked by a lot of customers before taking the decision to move to the cloud. Choosing also the right approach for migration, how we are going to do that migration. Are we going to do the lift and shift? Are we going to move the servers and the workload as is to the cloud? Or we are going to think in a different way? Are we going to modernize or use different mechanisms and the different cloud native features for the new workload? I tried to address the main challenges and main factors that every enterprise is considering before migrating to the cloud, and how we can address these consideration and the challenges along with our methodology and along with our phased approach migration to the cloud. Now, talking about migration approach and the strategies, we always have different ways to move different workload to the cloud. We call it the six R's methodology, where some of the workload has to be as is. Maybe the enterprise is having a third-party commercial application that we don't own the code. We have it as is. There is some some prerequisite of that workload in order to work in a proper way. So we might take the approach of lift and shift, or we call it rehosting. Also for that rehosting, whenever we took the decision for the lift and shift and to do the rehosting, we might use like some migration tools in order to replicate that application data before moving to the cloud, or we redeploy it on the cloud. We create the whole infrastructure on the cloud, then install, do the installation again, and do the configuration in order to move that application to the cloud. So the first migration approach is the rehosting or lift and shift. The second one is, we call it replatforming or lift and reshape. Here we might be able to modernize the underlying infrastructure in order to optimize that application. Maybe the application is working on a legacy virtual machine, and we found that application is following the microservices architecture. So we have the opportunity to install it into containerized environment on the cloud. For that, sometimes there might be some minor changes that has to be done on the application level in order to do that platforming and install it on a different platform on the cloud. Now, some application, whenever we go to any customer data center, we might find some outdated application, end of sale, end of support, or the technology life cycle has been reached out of this technology or this application, and we do recommend to our customer to replace it with a different technology. No need to take that old legacy outdated application to the cloud if we can offer the same functionality with better features, with better performance, better security, with the cloud maybe native features on the cloud. So repurchasing or replace, drop and chop, it would be the migration approach or strategy for some of the application in some cases, where we do recommend to our customer to move to different technology to provide the same features, same functionalities from business perspective with more let's say cloud native features to be able to integrate with different native cloud services and other maybe security better from performance perspective. Now the last one is, we call it the last approach or strategy, we call it refactoring. Maybe the customer is having a legacy in-house developed application. That application is not exist as a COTS on the shelf. It's not on the shelf commercial application. It's a customized in-house developed application to serve a specific business purpose for this industry or this customer vertical. In that way, we assess that application, and in order to see how much that application, what is the limitation of the existing setup, what is the cost of ownership, cost of operation, cost of maintenance, and we study if we can refactor that application to do rewriting, to rewrite that code in order to decouple the different services and moving into modernized microservices application. Actually, that strategy is very rarely happened during the migration to the cloud, because sometimes we do the lift and shift, and then in parallel we might go through the refactoring. But considering the refactoring maybe for as a roadmap for that application after moving to the cloud, it might be also a proper approach and proper strategy for some of the applications. Now, in order to decide which one is the best migration approach for each workload or each application, which application has to be moved first, which application we are going to do the rehosting, lift and shift, which one we are going to do the replatforming, which is lift and shape, or going to have the modernization. What is the business benefits of moving to the cloud? Is there any application, legacy application, that cannot move to the cloud? In order to address all that challenges, and in order to decide about the best migration strategy for the customer applications and workloads for on-prem, we follow a phased approach migration, which contains the three main phases. The first phase is, we call it the assessment phase, then the mobilization phase or migration planning, let's say. The third one is the migration and modernization. What we do within the assessment phase, we build the use case for the customer, we build the business case and use case for the customer. We go and check all his existing infrastructure, we check his existing inventory. We go through the utilization of the existing workload in order to build something we call it right sizing on the cloud, in order to calculate the total cost of ownership, because mapping the existing infrastructure one-to-one to the cloud, between the on-prem and the cloud, is not a right approach. We need to check, are we utilizing the existing workload for the on-prem, the existing compute and infrastructure in efficient way? Some applications might not be utilizing more than 20 to 30%. We have some application working on active-passive cluster. There is a high utilization on the active, but on the passive, the utilization is near zero. So why we have to pay for the passive part of my infrastructure on the cloud? We don't have to pay that. We don't have to provision a hardware where I'm going to utilize only 30% of it. That's why we do that practice during this assessment, in order to do the right sizing on the cloud and build the total cost of ownership, to show the customer how much his infrastructure and his workload will cost him on the cloud. We build that total cost of ownership, also build the return on investment, taking into consideration the different variables and different costs for the data center operation, cooling, power consumption, the rack, all the data center footprint expenses will be calculated within that ROI and TCO practice, in order to build a full business case to be presented to the customer business, to show them that, okay, if I'm going to move to the cloud, this is how much it's going to cost me for the next 3 or 5 years. This is how much I'm going to save. This is the value. This is the value that I can get from operational perspective, from financial perspective, from business perspective, how these different value can serve at the end the business. So out of this assess phase, we will have like full proper inventory with utilization performance metrics, along with the right sizing on the cloud, full TCO study with different pricing scenario, let's say, like 1 year reservation scenario, 3 year reservation scenario. We will make different pricing scenarios for that total cost of ownership for the 3 or 5 years, along with the ROI to get the buy-in from the business, that, okay, the business found a proper use case and found moving to the cloud is something efficient and serve the business purposes. After the assessment phase, we go into the mobilized phase or migration planning, where in this phase we are going to take more closer look into each application. We will be doing, we will be also doing workshops with each application owner, infrastructure owners, security team, network team, in order to take the proper decision about how we are going to migrate each application. We will go into that decision tree matrix in order to take the decision how we are going to migrate each application. We will do some kind of a classification and the profiling for these applications and determine each application dependencies to know which application is going to move first to the cloud, which applications, what dependencies and what prerequisite each application is having before moving to the cloud. For example, which application, some applications need authentication, need Active Directory, or need third-party authentication provider, need some kind of NTP to work on the cloud. So we need to make sure that these prerequisites are there. All the application dependencies are there. Maybe different applications are reading or writing from the same database. This database has to move with these two applications. We cannot move only one of these applications with that database, or we cannot move the database alone, or move the application and leave the database. All these should be packaged in one migration wave. So we will be deciding about the migration waves and start planning for that migration. We will be building the landing zones on the targeted cloud, subnetting the accounts, the users hierarchy. We will be building the multi-account structure hierarchy where I can define, okay, here my developers can access. Here only my security team can access. Here only my infra team can access. My DB admin can access only these databases. No one else can access these databases other than the DB admin and security admin. So building that landing zone will be part of the migration planning. Also, we will be building the center of excellence, where we will have a full board of expertise in order to take the decisions for that migration, because now we are talking about business application, critical business applications, and we need to approve the downtime, we need to improve the maintenance windows. A lot of decisions should be taken during this migration. So we will be forming the center of excellence and the communication metrics during the migration in order to have it ready for the execution. Also, we will be addressing different security and compliance requirement and the right migration governance policies. We end up with this phase by having a full migration. We call it migration runbook, where the next phase of the migration execution and mobilize and modernize will be nothing but following that run book. Now within the migration execution and mobilizing the resources, we will be starting the different migration activities and replication. And during the assessment and migration planning, we already draw the roadmap for each application, how we are going to migrate it, then modernize it. We call it always migration and modernization. Sometimes we do the lift and shift, and then maybe build a staging environment because we already identified that migration can be modernized. That application, I can install it on a containerized environment. All that, since it is already addressed within the planning, so during the migration execution, we will check and validate that different opportunities for modernization and start operating the workload and make sure the operation excellence are in place from that migration. After the migration, we make sure that our adaptation for the cloud and our operational model is mature enough by applying the different cloud governance pillars, by doing the financial cloud management, by having the cost management and keep applying the cost optimization as a part of the main operational pillars. Also, the cloud operation management we need to utilize where we need to utilize all the advanced features on the cloud, apply the automation to the maximum to make sure that we have the best cloud operation management model and operation excellence are in place. Also, managing the data, governing the data, making sure that all data are secured, all data are highly available through the different backup mechanism and archiving mechanisms. And for sure, one of the most important things, the security governance, and so to keep the security governance policies and compliance management in place. Talking about the modernization, also the modernization will be part of the operational tasks. It will be a continuous journey to modernize the workload, where whenever we move from the on-premise to the cloud, then the cloud will be taking care with the infrastructure as a service offering. The cloud will be taking care of the OS server maintenance and all hardware and all underlying hardware for the workload. And still the customer should take care of the other things related to the operating system patching and his software backup, if it is database patching, installation, all DB administration tasks should be done by the customer. With modernization in place, moving into the platform as a service offering from the cloud, then the customer will take care only of his application that's sitting on the top of everything. The customer only focus on his business applications, and the cloud will take care of all things related to the database administration, managing the underlying infrastructure, managing the security of that, for example, database, managing the networking. It will be so all stack under the application will be managed by the cloud provider, including scaling the resources to match the application demand, the high availability, any backups, patching, any database upgrade, the OS underlying that database also, and all the infrastructure underlying that operating system will be taken care by and managed by the cloud provider. Now, the main, with the continuous optimization, most of our customers achieved like improvement in cost saving from 10 to 70% of cost saving Also, their staff productivity has been in half from 1.5 to 3.5 times. Their operation resiliency and operation excellence has been improved because now they are not focusing on the small details, and they are not focusing on the underlying infrastructure. They are focusing on the operation of their application, making sure it's from its performance, making sure that they are adding more features to their application to serve their business purposes. So their operation resiliency has been improved from 20 to 90%. The business agility and the agility of the IT to keep the business up to date and to provide with faster time to market. So whenever any application would like to introduce a new service, usually they have to go through staging, they have to go through a lot of testing, they have to take care of the security. All that will be done on the cloud seamlessly. So releasing new features and releasing new services on the client application become more faster, become more agile, and the agility of the cloud will be reflected on the business agility. So the improvement of that business agility will be also from 10 to 70%. That's all from my side. I will leave it to my colleague Ashwani in order to tell you about how AWS can support its customers and its partners to accelerate their cloud migration journey using different programs, and the migration acceleration program will be one of them. I will leave it to my colleague Ashwani. Please, Ashwani, you can take the lead.
Thanks, Faiz. Thank you for this insightful presentation. Right, so Luke, I'm going to take the baton on now. So let me quickly switch on my camera for a moment so you guys can see me as well. So hello, everyone. So let me quickly introduce myself. So my name is Ashwani Kumar. I'm business development lead in the AWS Migration Acceleration Program. I cover what we call as the emerging market territory, which includes Middle East and North Africa, your part of the world. And I'm based out of London in the United Kingdom. And what is my kind of background? So my background is helping customer define their cloud migration and modernization strategy, helping them shape their large complex transformation programs around cloud transformation, modernization and migration, helping them realize the business benefit. So I had the opportunity to work across the end-to-end value chain, if you like, of the cloud transformation journey, right from the strategy definition to realizing the business benefits. So what I'm going to do today is give you a bit more insight and overview of the migration acceleration program we have at AWS. Tell you guys the story, how we developed this exciting program, which is quite unique in the industry, and how it can potentially help your journey into AWS Cloud. So that's what I'm planning to do today for the next, say, 15-20 minutes. So I'm going to quickly share my screen and switch off my camera to share a few slides so you can also read through while I'm speaking about this program. Right, so let me find the share button first. Awesome. So hopefully you guys can see my screen. Faiz, can you kind of confirm that just to confirm that someone is able to see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen clearly.
Awesome. Right, so migration acceleration program, this is what I'm going to talking about today. So as the name says, you can see here, this program is our global program designed to accelerate your journey into AWS Cloud. We also call this program MAP. And I'm going to show you how the program works, what the value proposition this program offers, how we design this exciting program, which is quite unique in the industry. So let me start by saying this slide you see here is some of the key business drivers we are noticing why our customers are looking to move into AWS cloud. And really, I mean, this is my cloud migration is not the end. Cloud migration is the means to an end, if you like. So you always do cloud migration modernization to meet certain business goals and objectives. So now what you see on the slide here is a different business drivers for customers like yourself would be looking to why they're looking to initiate a journey into AWS cloud. Now, you will be driven by a lot of compelling events such as cost objective, targets to exit certain data center or consolidate certain data center, or you may be running certain hardware and software which are either already at end of life or going end of life, and you're carrying some business and operational risk. So there could be some very specific sort of immediate needs or risk you need to address by moving to cloud. But the conversation is changing quite a lot as well now. Now, the board of directors I'm speaking to and the CXOs and CIOs I'm speaking to, they expect more than just cost saving and efficiencies through, even though those cost saving and efficiency can bring, some of the numbers Faiz was showing earlier around, you can easily get 20 to 25 to 50% savings compared to your on-premise solution into AWS. But customers, the board of directors want more than just cost savings. And this is where some of the business driver you see on the slide here comes into play as well. So the company, the organizations we are talking to, they're thinking not just of their immediate business need, but also longer term business growth plans and how they want to really transform their own businesses, right? So it could be something, you want to move faster and transform your customer experiences, for example, right? That's big focus in the world we live in now. We all know cloud is a big enabler for digital transformations, right? And modernizing your enterprises, not just from a technology perspective, but also from a business perspective. Then the other things could be, from a CIO, CTOs and the board of director perspective, whatever the cost saving you make as you transition into a cloud, you want to reinvest those cost savings into new business models, into drive new innovations. So it's almost like you want to make those business transformation program self-funded by getting some cost savings to the cloud migration and start using cloud. So this is the kind of the picture we need to paint here, that cloud migration is a means to end, but it's you always want to think about what are your business goals, what is that you're trying to achieve as an organization from a business perspective, and how the migration into AWS cloud can help you. So this is some of the way our customers are already thinking, and we kind of summarize this on chart that you look at both your short-term business needs and goals, but also looking at your forward-looking strategic business needs and goals. And cloud migration into AWS can help address both these needs. So this is the kind of really the painting the picture before we start going into the further details on this program. Now, I mentioned about the migration program, and in the next few slides, I'm going to go a bit more specific. So MAP, as we call it, while we do understand a lot of our customers, by migration to AWS can help achieve a lot of business benefit. But however, what we noticed that customer who are using MAP has amplified and accelerated their business benefits realization. This is what that chart is saying essentially in summary. As you can see here in these charts, the customer, you can see exponential growth in the benefits realization across various KPIs by using MAP. So for example, if you look at in reduction in mean time to resolution, if you're not using MAP, the customers had certain benefits by moving into AWS, but if you do it through the MAP, the benefits can amplify quite a lot, quite significantly. So is the cost saving and productivity as well. So this is just to reinforce that point. The program is a very structured program, help to accelerate your journey into AWS cloud. So now moving forward, what does that mean? So migration and modernization projects, as mentioned quite a lot on that, you know, it is a it's a multifunctional program, right? Any sizable cloud migration and modernization program is a multi-year program which require multiple teams with the right expertise to make your journey into cloud successful. Now, the program can be challenging. Having personally delivered multiple complex programs on cloud transformation journey, I can vouch for that. It requires, so what are the this chart is explaining what are the things you need to be watch out for as you start journey into the cloud transformation program. First thing, executive sponsorship. Very important. You need your top-down executive sponsorship, not just from IT, but from the business as well, who sponsors and set the clear goals. So that's the first thing. You definitely need that um, uh, very clear sponsorship. The second is a multifunctional team I mentioned. You need teams both inside and outside your organization to leverage the best subject matter expertise in the organization, the partners who have done these cloud transformation program before, so they can get the ball rolling straight and bring a lot of existing expertise assets to the table quickly. You need a lot of and really the other thing from my own personal experience and talking to a lot of industry experts in this is also you want to build a momentum when you start in this journey. You don't want to get into a lot of analysis paralysis, and you want to start quickly. You want to start with some quick wins, show to your business, show to your stakeholders that yes, this works. This is this will help us in achieve our business benefit in multiple direction. So look for those quick wins, how you can generate the momentum around these. So really, I mean, from our experience, in summary, this slide shows is that it's very important to set on this journey with the right skill set to achieve the success you're looking to. So have clear business goal, clear sponsorship, clear skills and partner you need to be successful in the journey. So beyond this, then once you are equipped for these sort of teams and the skills you need to deliver these programs. Here's what I want to introduce: the Migration Acceleration Program. So Migration Acceleration Program, as I was saying earlier, is a program designed to, as the name says, accelerate your journey to AWS Cloud. It's our flagship program, but I also say this program is also designed to de-risk that journey. How you, as you transition into AWS Cloud, we want to make sure you are successful, you get the best out of AWS resources and the teams and the partners we work with. Now, so this slide here shows the overall value proposition of this program. There are 6 areas here on this slide. You can see I'll give you a walkthrough of these 6 areas to explain to you how the program works, so you can get a bit more insight. First one, the migration methodology. Faiz touched upon that, and I'm going to do a bit of recap in the next few slides. Migration methodology is absolutely important in any cloud migration modernization program, to do it in a staged manner, focused manner, in a phased manner, to control the risk and make sure your stakeholders are aligned at every phase of the project, and you're doing in a structured way, essentially. And we have a very proven migration methodology which has been designed by doing thousands of cloud migration and modernization program across the globe. So that's the first thing I want to say. The second thing is the tooling. So tooling is an absolutely important element in any cloud migration modernization program. Tooling brings a lot of automation. It reduces their dependency on the human input. So it could be things like, and it runs almost like your entire in the entire life cycle of your cloud transformation program. For example, when you're doing the initial discovery, doing a tool-based discovery to see what areas, what infrastructure you're running on your on-prem solution, for example, or it could also be a tool-based migration if the use case applies. So there are tooling can be made available at multiple phases of the program. Next one is the AWS partner, right? We have a growing list of partners who are migration competency certified in AWS Cloud. And Bespin is definitely one of the key partner we have. And so partners bring a lot of expertise to make your journey into AWS cloud successful. They bring not just the technical expertise, but also the business expertise to make sure right stakeholders are involved, right messaging is driven, and right sponsorship is achieved right in the start of the program. They also bring a lot of expertise and capability to scale up these programs. So they are absolutely important piece of the jigsaw to make our customers' journey successful into AWS cloud. Now, the next one is on the lower left-hand corner is the AWS investment. We are making a number of investment under this program, and the reason to make this investment is we understand as you are transitioning into AWS cloud, you may still have some cost commitment with your existing infrastructure providers. So we want to reduce what we call as double bubble cost impact to you. So as you transition to AWS, we want to cost impact to you both from partner services cost and also infrastructure services cost. So that's the key, one of the key element under this value proposition. So, and we will be happy to discuss with you on a one-to-one basis how that investment looks like as you develop interest into moving to AWS. The next area is under this program is the AWS training. Now, under the training, what we essentially say is that as you transition to AWS cloud, we'll be happy to bring in some accelerators through directly with AWS or through our partners to really make your staff more familiar with the AWS cloud concept. So that could be a very handy things to have to really get the kickstart you need for. And the last but not the least is the managed services. This is a bit more forward looking. Once you, a lot of a customer, once they have migrated into AWS cloud, they are looking to position their own retained staff into more business differentiating roles and functions and job rather than doing the cloud BAU or operations infrastructure management. So if that's your use case as well, once you transition into AWS, that's something you can explore as this as an offering that you want to offload the cloud infrastructure management to either to the partners or to AWS and focus your staff more on the business differentiating role. So in summary, then, this is the overall value proposition of this migration acceleration program. As you can see, it covers all the key elements you will need in any sizable cloud modernization and migration program, whether it's the methodology, tooling, the partners involved, investment, and so on and so forth. So in the next slide, I'm going to give you a bit of a insight into the migration methodology. I appreciate Fayaz has touched on that, but just kind of give you a bit of a recap how that works. So the migration methodology we advise to all the customers and our partner consists of a three-step approach. So the first step is the assess. And there's a I'm gonna make it as simple as we can to really for you to digest. So assess is in simple term is answering the question why you should move into AWS cloud in financial terms. You can see that a lot of activities happens in assess phase, but typically the two main things or two broad activities happen is one is the directional business case in the form of a TCO report, total cost of ownership report, and second is the migration readiness assessment. So the total cost of ownership report gives you a view of what your cost will look like as you transition into AWS with some optimization as well. Fayaz mentioned earlier, right, we don't just do the like for like cost comparison, because we do believe once you move into AWS cloud, you have a lot of opportunity to optimize your infrastructure. So you will get an initial view of that as part of this TCO report, that what your optimized spend would look like in AWS. The second activity in this phase is the migration readiness assessment. Migration readiness assessment is a very important piece of work. It is essentially it's a gap analysis study to look into your areas of business, to see which areas you are already strong at in terms of your readiness into AWS cloud and which area you need to focus a bit more. And I've got a slide later on to go in a bit more detail what that migration readiness assessment looks like. But very important, very mandatory piece of work we do at the start of the journey into AWS Cloud to really make yourself successful as you further progress. Now, the second phase following that is the mobilize phase. Again, I think Fayaz got through a lot of detail in that. I will probably won't go through all the activities here, but just to call out again, in my simple definition of the world of the mobilize phase is answering the question, what you need to do to set the foundation right. So this is where you will do all the foundational activities. You will go through the detailed migration plan here, forming the wave group, dependencies between application, infrastructure, and so on and so forth. You will look at the impact on your operating model. If your IT governance and business operating model is changing, you want to look at that as well as you optimize your organization. Remember, cloud migration are not just the infrastructure transformation project or IT transformation programs. They go beyond the four walls of IT, and it's very important to think from that perspective as well if you really want to get the maximum benefit from these programs. And then you can potentially do in this phase some handful of pilot on doing some migration pilot as a proof of concept in this phase. That could be, you're moving some application and servers into AWS Cloud, and really the real value of doing this POCs or pilot is to test the methods and tooling in your particular context and environment. And as you further sort of scale up. So you basically look out, as you can see, you touch on the people aspect, platform aspects here, and the portfolio and the migration as well as a pilot. And finally, the third phase is the migrate and modernize. So this is where the bulk of the activity will happen. You will start migrating at a scale, and then further optimize and modernize. So depending on your scope and size, you can take different views, different sort of approaches here in this phase. You can use migration factory approach to do a wave-based migration planning and so on and so forth. Now, so in summary, this is the framework or the migration journey we advise to our customers and partners to work with you. This so basically, just to quick recap, assess is answering the question what you need, why you should move to AWS Cloud to get that financial perspective. Mobilize is what you need to do to set the foundation right, and migrate and modernize is doing it. So why, what, and do, how I simplify this this journey. Now, while we advise our customers and partners use this migration methodology, we also equally acknowledge that every customer is at a different point of time in the journey into AWS Cloud. So these phases, we don't hardwire them, so we can adapt this approach irrespective of where you are in your journey into AWS Cloud. For example, a lot of customers I'm speaking to in the UAE as well, they are beyond the assess mobilize phase and they're ready to migrate. They're saying, Ashwani, I have a very clear idea of what I want to do, and I'm ready to migrate. So we can help you from third phase onwards. And some of the customer I'm talking to, they are beyond the assess phase. They have done the business case and all they care. They want to start with a detailed migration planning. So that's where you will start with mobilized phase, for example. So the point I'm trying to make it is, while we do suggest this as a best practice model, but we can also adapt it, and depending on wherever you are in your journey into AWS Cloud. So that's the overall, the end-to-end cloud migration journey we advise. So what is beyond this, right? So I mentioned about the migration readiness assessment, in which we typically do in the assess phase. So migration readiness assessment is a gap analysis piece of work to diagnose your readiness into AWS Cloud and build the case for change, as I say. So this assessment is not just technical assessment. It is looking at holistically from both technology and business perspective. The 6 areas we investigate and assess as part of this is listed in this table in the middle. These 6 areas is aligned to our cloud adoption framework. As you can see, we look at business capability as well. We look at the business value realization, the impact on the people, their roles and readiness, and the governance you need to make these programs successful. And also obviously from a technology perspective, the platform security and operation. So how does it work operationally? So we have a questionnaire of around 70 questions, which we normally send it before like with your teams, and then your teams can answer those questions, and then our partners and our AWS teams will get on a call with you to validate the responses from those, get a bit more details beyond the answers in the questionnaire, and trying to understand the thinking and the reasoning behind those answers, and then come with a actionable roadmap. So it's not just like, we're going to give you some, the RAG status kind of view, which you will get anyway, as you can see, is one of the output here on the right hand side. But the important thing is our partners will work with you to build an actionable plan, which can help you really set yourself for success right on the early stages. And that's the point I was saying, earlier in the says, is that the cloud migration program are not just the IT program. They go beyond that. It's important to take all the stakeholders alignment right on the early stages. And that's where the migration readiness assessment helps significantly to do that stakeholder alignment, to give you a view of the areas you're already strong at, where you need more focus. And really, this is an engine you can use to align your stakeholders and make yourself successful. So this step is quite mandatory as well as part of our MAP value proposition, irrespective of where you are in your journey into AWS Cloud, whether you assess, mobilize, or migrate and modernize. So then in summary, right, I want to kind of summarize what are the key takeaways I really want you to take away from today's session. First thing is MAP, or Migration Acceleration Program, helps to amplify and accelerate your benefit realization as you transition into AWS Cloud. It's a very comprehensive program which helps you in every step of your cloud migration and modernization journey. This is a program designed based on thousands of migration we've done, and without any legal and hard commitment on your side. And this is a very important point I really want to take away, and we'll work with you after this session, depending on your interest, to go into a bit more detail at how, when we say no legal commitment, what that means. But there's no legal commitment to get the benefit this program offers, is what I really want you to take away today. So, and the third point is the program not only offers financial benefit, it also offers other benefits like the framework, tool, subject matter expert from AWS side, and partners, which I kind of covered in this slide earlier. And the next point is, really, you can start the assess phase straight away without any cost impact to you by using AWS Migration Partner, and Bespin here are very well equipped to deliver successfully for you. So, and again, to reiterate that point, there's no legal and hard commitment on you to onboard into this program. There's a qualification criteria which we can go through with you as you develop further interest to engage with us on this program. So in summary, this is what I really wanted to share with you today. Hope this was useful, exciting, but we are here to help and make your journey successful. So I'm going to close my session here by saying thank you for listening, and we can have address any questions you might have.